I mean, let's just start by, because I always like, now you're handsome, successful, muscles, barely ever put a shirt on, famous on Instagram and all that stuff. But I like to take it back, because at the end of the day, a lot of people see a guy like yourself and they think that you snapped your fingers and this is, that instant fame. And I know for a fact that's not what happened with you. And you have a story. So can you take us back to the early years, even to the thing, like you said, like getting into fights and like trying to find, who you were? Like where did fitness, like where did you know that fitness was going to get you out of kind of where you were?
Yeah, because I used to get in just a lot of fights, normal shit, and for kids from certain backgrounds. Yeah. And I started getting into fitness because I was like, if I'm getting in fights, I want to be better at it. Right. So like a lot of guys getting into fitness for like girls or something. To me, it was for violence, like that's what I wanted to get better at, violence. And again, I trained one summer. I went and I trained with Aaron, and he taught me how to box because he was a Golden Gloves champion. And I just learned a lot with him that summer. And I was like, man, came back to school, I can't wait. who's ready? I've been training for you motherfuckers all summer. And then it was weird. It was like nobody wanted to mess with me, at the point. Like I didn't have the trouble. Right.
And you think it was because you carried yourself a little bit differently? I think
because fitness changed. You've been a trainer, right? Like you got this amazing gym. You've seen people, people's whole personality change. When you set a fitness goal, you got to make all these little promises to yourself every day, right? You got to, get enough sleep. You got to hit your macros, hit your calories. You got to train, right? And once you start keeping the promises you make to yourself every day, you start to have like a different kind of confidence. Right. You carry yourself different, because it was only like one summer. How much muscle did I put on in the summer, right? It was really, it wasn't that. It was more, I think I carried myself different, right? I had real confidence. A lot of times when people, they ask me how to get more confidence. Like, man, you probably just haven't given yourself a reason to be confident. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine, like, you make all these promises yourself and you break them every day. Like, imagine if somebody you loved was telling you all the time they're going to do something for you, they're going to do something, and they never do it. Like, how much confidence would you have in them, right?
Of course. Yeah, like, it's like if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, then there's no way you're going to have confidence, because you don't even have confidence in yourself. And
and nobody, even if nobody knows, you know.
You know what
I'm saying?
You're looking at the man in the mirror. Like, what are you looking at? Are you looking at somebody that lies to yourself, or are you looking at somebody that actually checks those boxes every day?
You can't bullshit yourself. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many affirmations you say. I don't care. What
you're manifesting.
I don't care what your horoscope is. What your motherfucking what you got on your vision board. If you breaking the promises to yourself, you know it, and you feel like a punk. Inside. On the inside. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even if you have like some sort of false bravado, it's something that people can feel, this intangible, right? So them kids stop messing with me, and what happened was they started asking me to help them in the gym,
And what year is this? High school?
This is high school. I was like 16, So and I was like, all right, cool, man. I'll teach y'all what I learned over the summer. Yeah. And what happened was, this is what made me like fall in love with fitness. Those kids, their personality started changing too, right? They stopped being as much of like little assholes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just, I saw, oh, wait a minute, man, this changes people in a different kind of way, Right. And I just fell in love with that like transformation, not just the physical transformation, but how it changes people's personalities.
That's what I've always loved. Yeah. I think there's, we don't give fitness enough credit for what it does to the mind.
For sure, man. I think it's more that than anything else. Right? Because at my age, I'm not necessarily trying to be like super bigger than I am now.
Of course, right. Like we've done all that.
Yeah,
we hit those milestones.
Well, especially you bigger than me, right? But it's more like, it's more just, I want to be active. I want to feel good, but also it's like a part of who I am. If I don't work out, I feel like a punk. Like if I
say it's the anchor to my life. It's like when you do the hard shit first. Like I'm a morning guy, workout guy. And,
me.
And so when I get that morning workout in, it's like, all right, I can do anything now.
Yeah,
because you're putting stress on your body, like you're making yourself uncomfortable for a reason. And then when life happens. Stress happens, business, putting out fires all day long, trying to do stuff. It's like not as hard as it would be if you didn't do that.
Right, right. It's the contrast.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, it's difficult, but like compared to what, right? The comparison.
Yeah, and then I'm telling you, it just makes your mind so strong, so strong, and the confidence. And when you walk in a room, I mean, you know, you walk in a room, people are like, "Who's that?" You know, like it's just you move differently, you're seen differently. You know, who was it? This one guy online, he talks about like in sales, like people are gonna buy stuff from you if you look like money.
People treat you way differently, man. Way differently. Like little shit, you know, like just walking around. Like I remember it was once I was this is when I really noticed it. It was this I was with one of my friends, and he didn't really work out. He was kind of scrawny and small, and he had, because he was smaller than me, we were in New York, he could get like through people more, right? But so I was watching, and I was like people like disregarded him. They were like not shove him like being, but they weren't as but they were like more careful with me on the subconscious level, right? I don't even think they were even thinking about it. You know, it's just
I've always, and like you said, I used to be really big when I played football. Yeah. And it's funny how like you just said that, like if you go to a crowd, like people would move for you.
Yeah.
You know, like
I don't even think they're thinking about it. I think it's like a subconscious thing. Yeah. And I think it's attractive, not in a like sexually attractive, but I think on a evolutionary level, right? Like who do you want to follow? Who do you want to lead? You know, who do you even want in your circle? Like the fucking weakest motherfucker or the strong? I think on the subconscious level, it's like an evolutionary thing.
We carry a frequency too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's a certain bravado or frequency, not arrogance, but just a true confidence, because we are showing up for ourselves every day. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm telling you, like when you can look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I did that. I do that. I am that. You're not fake. You're true, authentic. And so people know what's up. Like, you can see bullshit from a mile away. Like,
and I think that's super important, especially, you know, you talk about online stuff, right? Yeah. Not everybody's nice online, right? And if you don't like yourself and you get all that criticism, I've seen it really like fuck people up, really like change people's personality in a negative way. Because if you really like yourself, right, you're proud of yourself, then what some asshole says on the internet, it's not going to affect you the same way. It might not be nothing, right? Because for most of human history, we stayed in like tribes of like 100, 200 people, right? So if you were ostracized for that tribe for any reason, you probably die, right? So we're descendants of people who learned to fit in order for survival, right? So there's something in us that makes us want to fit in some, you know, a little bit.
But would you say that like us though? Because I don't want to fit in.
No. It's more like standing out. But I think
I would say that's the majority.
But it's criticism, right? Like I think it affects everyone. Everybody says it shouldn't be nothing, but it affects you. But how much it affects you depends on how much you like yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna affect. It may,
because if you're secure with yourself, and
then it's like whatever, man. You know. And so
most of them are little keyboard warriors anyway.
So I really try to. I really keep myself accountable, and I keep that in mind. You know, because I want to have so much confidence in myself because of the track record I built with myself. Like everything I do every day, not, you know, I keep all the promises I make to myself. I do what I say I'm supposed to do. You know, I do difficult things to the point where if some asshole says something about me, right, like it's like I want it to feel ridiculous to me. This is absurd. But
do you get a lot of internet hate?
Nobody gets unanimous praise, right? You know, they killed Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Jesus, right? Like nobody gets unanimous praise, so none of us can expect to be exempt. And there's also a thing where I read this book like 2 years ago, and it like kind of changed the way I looked at things. You know, it was called the status game, and when somebody's views someone, right, as maybe like having more status than them in certain ways, there's a reflex for some people, not everyone, so to try to put them down in some kind of way in order to mitigate the feelings and inadequacy they may experience by looking at them, right? So it's like if somebody sees you and they're like, yeah, he's on fucking roids or he's doing all this shit, like that's gonna make them feel better about their inadequacies. Does that make sense? No, right? Definitely. It's a defense mechanism. So a lot of times when I realize that, when I really realized that, I was like, oh, okay, you know, it's more like pity sometimes, you know, like damn, you know, like I'm I'm glad I'm not in a position where I'm compelled to behave that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I always ask people this, is if you had one thing that nobody knows about you, but you would want them to know about you, you know, what would that be?
One thing.
And it could be goofy. It could be anything, you know?
Nobody knows about me, but I want them to know about
right.
Most of the stuff they don't know is for a reason. It's like I like keep I just like to keep certain things to myself. Yeah. Like little shit like
somebody asked me that one time.
What was your answer?
My answer at that time, I think now it's pretty, I think I've said it so many times now that people finally know, so I don't have to keep saying it. But basically that I didn't think, when he asked me the question, I didn't think people really knew how much I cared about people. You know, I felt like people thought that I was just doing this for me or doing this for and I have this, I'm always meeting people, and when I bring people in my organization or I bring people in my life or whatever, I always am seeing people for what they can become, not who they are. And it means a lot to me to see them become a better version of themselves. You know,
because you're a coach. Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel the same. I
sometimes
feel that.
I feel like people don't really think that.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, he's just doing this to make money or doing this or whatever. And it's the greatest joy I get out of all of this. I just got it the other day. A guy texted me. He said, I've been coming to your gym since my son was 4 years old. And my son just won the most fit senior in his class. And my son, he said that the reason why is because I watched my dad go to Legacy for over a day. You know what I mean? It is those moments that's why we do what we do.
That's why we coach.
I literally cried when I read the thing, and I was like, it makes us keep going. It makes us, and so the impact that we have is more important than any materialistic shit.
Did you ever compete or anything?
I mean, I played college football.
Right. So, you didn't bodybuilding and compete.
I won a couple of those men's physique shows or whatever. Yeah. But I hated that. People used to ask me, you ever compete? And I was like, I never had the desire to, because man, I'm a coach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I want to help others. You know what I'm saying? So I felt when you said that, because because we do this just to be the example, so that people take us serious. Yeah. Because if we're trying to tell you what to do and we don't look the part and we don't do what we say we're going to do, then we're hypocrites.
Yeah.
So we're doing this almost literally for, I always say lately, it's for my son. I literally want my son to think I'm the baddest motherfucker.
Bro, I think about that all the time.
I want him to be like, my dad's a superhero, you know?
I think about that all the time. and not from a vanity reason.
No, not at all.
No, because you have more influence.
Yes.
Right? Because you know, right now our sons are young, right? So they already think that, right? But when they're high school, you know, they're gonna be now to influence our son, we're also competing with rappers, or you know what I'm saying, popular culture, athletes, right? And they might not be setting the best example. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I always feel like I gotta be at a level where I have more influence over him than the outside world.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
From fitness, from mindset, emotional stability to money, right? He's got to look at me
You're
that.
The king.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
The king. His king.
And only so I can influence him, because otherwise you can get guided in the wrong direction by these fucking streamers or some other shit. Sure. Motherfuckers acting
now,
crazy.
I mean, the access to so much stuff, you don't know who's gonna reach him.
You know what I'm saying?